जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानन्दना जय व्रजजनरञ्जना जय यशोदानन्दना जय व्रजजनरञ्जना जय यमुनातीरावनचारी जय कुञ्ज Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Jaya जय हो कृष्ण जय राधा कृष्ण चंद्र राधा कृष्ण चंद्र राधे जय गोविंद ईश्वर जय गौरांगी धर्मेश्वर जय गौरांगी धर्मेश्वर जय लक्ष्मी नरसिम्हा जय हो संत देव जय लक्ष्मी नरसिम्हा जय हो प्रहलाद महाराज जय हो गौरन्निताय निताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव बोल हरि बोल। नित्यलीला परुषयं विष्णुराजिकचार्य स्तोत्र सतस भय चरण इस्कॉन विभूति संतपका चोर भक्त वृंद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय महामंत्र की जय नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So welcome all of you to today's Srimad Bhagavatam morning session, and today we are going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam chapter 10th of Canto 4th, entitled Dhruv Maharaj's Fight with Yakshas. So under that chapter, we are going to discuss about 3 verses from 11th to 13th. Let me share my screen. So once you are able to view it, please let me know. I hope you are able to view my screen. So we'll read from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, 10th chapter, 11, 12th and 13. 3 verses we are going to discuss today. So I'm going to read it, and wherever you are, you can read it from your place. ततः परिज्ञिस्त्रिंशंसे प्रासशूलपरश्वधै शक्ययष्टिर्भिषुण्डेभिः शिश्चत्रवाजे शरीरपि अभ्यवर्षन् प्रकुपिताः सरथं सहसारथिम् इच्छन्तस्तप्रतिकर्तुं मयतुनां त्रयोदश. So synonym, translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Tatah, thereupon Parigha with iron bulgeons, Nistramisi and sword, Prasha Shula with tridents, Prashavadhi and lances, Shakti with pikes, Prishtibihi and spears, Bhushandibihi and Bhushundi weapons, Chitra Vajaha having various feathers, Sarai with arrows, Api also, Abhya Varshan, they showered Dhruva, Prakupitaha being angry, Saratham along with his chariot, Saha Sarathim along with his charioteer, Chantaha desiring, Tata Dhruva's activity, pra, Pratik Kratum to counteract Ayutanam of 10,000s, Trayodasha 13th. Translation: the Yaksha soldiers were 130,000 strong and all greatly angry and all desiring to defeat the wonderful activities of Dhruv Maharaj. With full strength, they showered upon Maharaj Dhruva along with his chariot and charioteer various types of feathered arrows, parighas, iron bulgeons, nistrimas, swords, prashulas, tridents, prashavandas, lances, shaktis, pikes, vrishtis, spears, and bhusundi weapons. The 13th verse. Uttanapadi sa tada shastravarshena bhurina na eva drashyasya channa asarena yatha girihi. So synonyms, translation and purport by His Divine Grace Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Uttanapad Dhruva Maharaj Saha hi tada at that time Shastra Varshena by a shower of weapons, Bhurina insensate, na not eva certainly, Adrashyata was visible, Achannaha being covered, Asharena by constant rainfall, Yatha as Griha a mountain. Translation: Dhruv Maharaj was completely covered by an incessant shower of weapons, just as a mountain is covered by incessant rainfall. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out in this connection that although Dhruv Maharaj was covered by incessant arrows of the enemy, this does not mean that he succumbed in the battle. The example of a mountain peaks being covered by incessant rain is just suitable. For when a mountain is covered by incessant rain, all dirty things are washed from the body of the mountain. Similarly, the incessant shower of arrows from the enemy gave Dhruv Maharaj new vigor to defeat them. In other words, whatever incompetency he might have had was washed away. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामिने गौरतुसे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। जयतं सुरतुपङ्गोर मम मन्दमतेर्गति मतः सरस्वपादाम्बुजो श्रीराधा मदनमोहनो दिव्यादबृन्दरन्या कल्पद्रुमादौ श्रीमद्रत्नाकरा सिंहासनो स्थितो श्रीमद्राधा शीलगोविन्ददेवो पृष्ठालिभिः सेव्या मनुस्मरामि श्रीमनरासरसारं वांसी वटतट स्थितः कर्षणवेणो स्वनरगोपी गोपीनाथ श्रीयस्तु नः। तप्तकाञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So once again, welcome you all in today's morning Srimad Bhagavatam session. And as we spoke, that today we are going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4th, chapter 10th, entitled Dhruv Maharaj's fight with Yakshas. And in that chapter, we are going to read and discuss three verses 11, 12, and 13. So this chapter basically discuss about how Dhruv Maharaj had a fight with Yakshas. So if you are attending this class regularly, then you must be aware of that how this particular incident started and what is the background of it. But thus, for those who haven't joined this class regularly in the past, for the benefit of everyone, we are going to discuss a brief about the background of this particular incident. So this chapter actually start with Maitreya Rishi is having a conversation with Vidura, and that actually Maitreya Rishi is explaining about how Dhruv Maharaj married to daughter of Prajapati Shishumara. So we know that when Uttanapad, King Uttanapad, when he left for forest, at that time Dhruv Maharaj was not married. And after that, when Dhruv Maharaj married to daughter of Prajapati Shishumara, and the name of the daughter of Prajapati Shishumara was Brahmi. And from Brahmi, Dhruv Maharaj got two children and two sons basically. And the names goes like Kalpa and Vatsara. And Dhruv Maharaj in due course of time had another wife and her name was Ila. And she was daughter of Vayudeva. And from Ila, Dhruv Maharaj got two children. One was son, his name was Utkala, and a daughter. So her name is not described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Dhruv Maharaj had two wives. One was daughter of Prajapati Shishumara, whose name was Brahmi. And from Brahmi, he has two sons, Kalpa and Vatsara. And he had one more wife. Her name was Ila, who was daughter of Vayu. And from Ila, Dhruv Maharaj had two children, one son named as Utkala and one daughter. And it so happened that once Dhruv Maharaj's co-brother Uttama, who was son of Suruchi, he He was unmarried, and once actually he went for hunting in the forest. And there actually he was killed by powerful yakshas in the foothills of Himalayan mountains. And it so happened that when Mother Suruchi, who was real mother of Uttama, when she heard this news, immediately she left to forest to search his son. And we know that how Suruchi got killed in the forest fire. So when Dhruv Maharaj heard this news that his brother was killed, his brother Uttama was killed by yakshas, so he became furious and he started lamenting. And as soon as the news came, he immediately got on his chariot and went out to have a fight with yakshas and to defeat them. And Dhruv Maharaj started towards city of yakshas that is known as Alkapuri. When Dhruv Maharaj started his expedition, and that actually he saw a city full of ghostly persons and who were followers of Lord Shiva. And when Dhruv Maharaj reached Alkapuri, he started blowing his conch shell. And the tumultuous sound of conch shell, it was so painful for the wives of yakshas, because now they can understand that something bad is going to happen. And from their eyes, they could see that now their end is near. Because Dhruv Maharaj, when attacked Alkapuri, it was so evident that all the Yakshinis, the wives of Yakshas, felt tremendous pain in their heart. And Yakshas were not ordinary. We heard of Yakshas, right? Many a times, that how Yakshas are described in various places. In Mahabharata, we heard about Yakshas, right? The Yakshas actually took exam of the test of Yudhishthira Maharaj, right? Similarly, the Yakshas are very jealous kind of species, right? And full of anger and full of, having attraction towards gold, diamonds, and all. So it's explained somewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam that how the Alkapuri is described, where the yakshas are adorned with golden jewels, right? And full fledged faith in Lord is not there when one is having attraction towards these earthly matters. Anyways, so when yakshas actually heard this resounding vibration of conch shell of Dhruv Maharaj, they came out of the city with their weapons and they attacked Dhruv Maharaj. And Dhruv Maharaj, he was a great warrior, and at the same time, he was a great devotee of the Lord. So there are so many lessons that we can take from today's discussion. Is that being a devotee of the Lord doesn't mean that we tolerate the injustice, right? So here, when Dhruv Maharaj saw them coming out of the city, the yakshas were coming out of the city, he immediately began to kill them by discharging arrows at them. And it is said that at one time he was discharging around 3 arrows at the same moment. So when the Yaksha warriors saw that their heads are being thus threatened by Dhruv Maharaj, they could understand that they are going to be defeated because they haven't seen such warrior in their life. And then actually they thought of coming with full vigor to have a fight with Dhruv Maharaj. So just like it is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, that just like serpents who cannot tolerate being trampled upon by anyone's feet, the Yakshas being intolerant of the wonderful prowess of Dhruv Maharaj, threw twice as many arrows. So now you can understand that Dhruv Maharaj was throwing 3 arrows at one time. So now each of the soldiers were throwing double of what Dhruv Maharaj was throwing at them. So each of them was throwing 6 arrows. And it is explained in this verse that we are discussing today that Yaksha soldiers were 130,000 strong. Now you can imagine 6 arrows from each soldier. So 130,000 comes to 780,000 arrows at one point in time. And it was looking like the sun is clouded by monsoon clouds. And Dhruv Maharaj, along with his charioteer and chariot, various type of arrows were thrown at him. And it is said that Parikas, Nistrimas, Prashulas, Prashvadhas, Shaktis, Prishtis, and Bhusundi weapons were thrown at him. So Dhruv Maharaj was completely covered by this incessant shower of weapons at him. And it is explained here that just as a mountain is covered by incessant rainfall. So the point that we can understand and can take out of this discussion is that the devotee doesn't mean that he won't retaliate to threatening situations, right? And at the same point in time, Lord's justice prevails. That we need to understand. So here we see that Dhruv Maharaj has already had darshan, right? Sakshat darshan of Lord. But still, he was fighting for injustice, right? So here we can see that Dhruv Maharaj was so agitated when he heard this news that his brother was killed by Yakshas. And at the same time, we can see that those who are on path of injustice, they get befitted response in due course of time as the karmic reaction. So Suruchi was not favorable to Dhruv Maharaj and she insulted him. And because of that, when she heard this news and she went to the forest, she was killed by forest fire. So ultimately, we need to understand that we shouldn't never ever disrespect or dishonor or insult devotees of the Lord because they are very dear to the Lord. And whomsoever do any kind of love or any kind of act to please the Lord, Lord never forgets that act. But at the same time, Lord never ever forget the insult of his devotees, the dishonor of his devotees. And he, by these kind of examples, he show to the entire universe that my devotees are very dear to me. And Lord many a times actually established this fact by showing his affection towards his pure devotees. We see it in the example of Ambarish Maharaj, right? So Maharaj was not having any enmity or any rage towards Durvasha Muni. Even after Durvasha Rishi cursed Ambarish Maharaj, still he wasn't having any kind of retaliation, thought of retaliation in his mind. But still, Sudarshan Chakra was following Durvasha Muni like anything. So until and unless Durvasha Rishi took shelter of the lotus feet of Ambarish Maharaj, he wasn't forgiven by Sudarshan Chakra. So here also we see that Dhruv Maharaj was insulted by his co-mother, Suruchi, right? And how she was killed in a forest fire. So one may say that it was an accident and all, but we can see that how devotees of the Lord, when they are insulted, Lord never forgets, right? And at the same time, we can see that devotees of the Lord are not having even a tinge of anger or retaliation from the hand of their mother. So here, Dhruv Maharaj, though being insulted by Mother Suruchi, he could have thought like an ordinary person that let it be. My co-brother got killed. It's a good news. I will get the whole, the kingdom, and I'm going to rule without any problem, right? And anyways, my co-mother Suruchi got killed. This happened for good only, right? And it's not a matter to be perturbed. Rather than it is a matter of jubilation, right? This is how the ordinary person would think. That yes, someone has insulted me and now he's got the befitting response or result of his karmic reaction. That's it. Why should I bother about it? And it's good that it happened. But this was not the case with Dhruv Maharaj. He was having so much affection toward his brother. And because of that, he attacked Alkapuri. So there are facts being explained here in this whole chapter, if you see. But what we can take out of this discussion is that devotees of the Lord never ever tolerate any insult or any kind of act which is not befitting to sastric injunctions. It is said that one who kills your relative or your brother for that matter is bound to get reactions, and we should kill them immediately if someone attacks at our home. And one more aspect of it is that Dhruv Maharaj was king of the whole universe, and it was his duty to punish those who are not following the order. So there are a lot of insight and perspectives that we can actually look into and we can think about. But the most important aspect that we need to understand from this particular discussion is that devotees of the Lord, even if apparently it may seem they are clouded by the negativity of retaliation. Right? Here we see when Dhruv Maharaj is attacking Yakshas, so apparently it may seems that he's retaliating, he's avenging the death of his brother, right? But from the Sastric point of view, if we look at this event, then we can understand that Dhruv Maharaj was the king of entire earthly planet. And it was his duty as a king to punish those who are not following the order, right? So there are a lot of argument can be given in favor of this fact that Dhruv Maharaj was retaliating. But at the same time, from the Sastric perspective, we need to analyze the events. So that's why it is said that whenever we have any doubt, we should consult Guru Shastra and Sadhu. Otherwise, from a layman's perspective, this event may look like an event of revenge, and retaliation. Now, when Dhruv Maharaj was covered by this incessant shower of weapons, no, you can't even imagine. An ordinary person cannot survive in this kind of situation, or no, even a great warrior couldn't, you know, take this as a normal event, or he cannot actually bear this kind of attack, because 6 lakh or 7 lakh 80,000 arrows at one time, can't even imagine. We can't even imagine that how it is, going to be lethal, right? But we understand that Lord actually protects. It's a Lord protection, right? Otherwise, how much brave or warrior you may be, but with this kind of assault, no one can stand this kind of assault. But because of Dhruv Maharaj was protected by Lord, so no one can actually defeat him, right? So devotees, that's why the devotees of the Lord are very dear to the Lord, and Lord protects his pure devotees, irrespective of that in what situation they are into. So Lord protects his pure devotees. So Lord protected Gajendra, right? So there was no such situation at that time, but his life was in danger. And at that time, he remembered the Lord, and Lord gave him full protection. Similarly, here if we see Dhruv Maharaj, from a layman's perspective, if you see, then he was about to be killed by Yakshas. But Lord protected, right? Until unless one is protected by Lord, one cannot actually stand with this kind of assault. That's why Rakhe Krishna Mare Krishna Rakhe ke. So if Lord wants to kill someone, no one can protect him. And when Lord wants to protect someone, no one can kill him. And here, Dhruv Maharaj is a pure devotee of the Lord. He's not an ordinary person, right? So he actually had sakshat of Lord in 6 months, right? So we can't even imagine that a little boy of age 5 can perform these kind of austerities. So one point that was the whole center point of his life, that he took instruction from his mother and he went to the forest and performed austerities. And Lord actually favors those souls who are sincere and want to please the Lord with their actions. And this is called devotional service. When you want to please the Lord with your actions, this is devotional service. So sometime one may think that any kind of act we do in devotional service is bhakti. Yes, it is true, but it should be done in such a way that it pleases the Lord. So until and unless our actions results into pleasing the Lord, they cannot be called as devotional service. So here Dhruv Maharaj is playing a role of a king, and it is king's duty to protect the citizens and punish the demons or the wrongdoers. And he is just performing the duty of a king, but at the same time, he is performing the duties of a brother as well, as a son as well, because he's son in a way to Mother Suruchi. And more Dhruv Maharaj, if you see from the perspective of devotees, then he ruled actually around 36,000 years on this earthly planet, as Lord actually given him this boon. So devotees may think, or not devotees, but people in general may think that he is under the influence of Maya. Because when one enters in such luxuries, one is bound to get attracted by the illusory energy of the Lord. And we can see it in the example of Dhruv Maharaj here and Prahlad Maharaj's example, that both of these devotees of the Lord were unaffected by the illusory energy of the Lord. देवेशे गुणमयी मम माया धुरतया मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते माया में थाम तरन्ति थे. So though this illusory energy of the Lord is so powerful, but when one takes shelter of the Lord, then Lord actually protects, and because of this protection, one transcend to these three modes of material nature. So the devotees of the Lord, the life-threatening situations, and the situations where when they are insulted, still they don't lose their faith. And we know that in due course of these chapter, that how Dhruv Maharaj defeated Yakshas. And no doubt Swambhu Manu comes and he counsel Dhruv Maharaj, and then he forgive Yakshas, and it's a whole story that we will come across in the due course of this chapter. But what we can take away from this particular discussion is that Lord's devotees, though they are kind, though they are generous, though they have love for all the living entities, but still, when they are playing a particular role, they give their 100%. And this is what is expected from each one of us, whether we are a husband or a wife, right, or an employee or an owner, we should play our roles perfectly. And when we do that, we please the Lord. So sometimes one may feel that just chanting is sufficient. I'm not going to act any other. I'm not going to do any other act. No, whatever. Excuse me. Whatever the role that has been given to us, that role, if we fulfill that role's expectation with all our energy, right, and in line with shastric injunctions, then we please the Lord. So whether one is at the level of Dhruv Maharaj or one who is just a beginner on the spiritual path, right, we should always act according to the will of the Lord, right? And what is the will of the Lord? And what is the words of the Lord? The words of Lord are Vedas and Vedic injunctions, right? So when we follow those Vedic injunction and we fulfill all our duties, we play our role expertly, then we please the Lord. And this is what is required from a person who want to progress on a spiritual realm. So with that, I will end here. If you have any question, please let me know. I think we are good. Jai Ho, Shan Govind Prabhu. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Jai Ho, Dhanvat Pranam Prabhu. How are you keeping, Prabhu?
All your blessings, Prabhu.
Jai Jai, nice to see you. Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna.